All right, we're going to go in focus. We're going to take a look at those key issues that we heard yesterday in our sit down with Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott.
It has been a tough year between the crime and the COVID crisis dominating the headlines here in Charm City.
All right, let's go over to WMAR 2 News. Kendall Green had a long sit down with the mayor. And Kendall, there's so much to go over in that interview. So let's dive a little deeper into the mayor's relationship with the governor.
Yeah, Jamie and Kelly, in an hour's time, we addressed what's gone right within Mayor's administration and, frankly, what hasn't so far. Tonight, we're going in focus on our conversation about partnerships with folks within the state's house in Annapolis and the successes and challenges Mayor Scott and Governor Hogan faced within the last year.
Absolutely. Now, you said you take personal responsibility on a personal level, but it's not the city that can do it all on their own. That it takes the governor, it takes the state legislature. What do you want to see coming out of 2022 for the state legislature that can benefit Baltimore?
Well, it's continued partnership, right? We have a great partnership with our delegation from Baltimore City, who have been great partners with us, thinking about things that we were able to do. For example, the reason why we're going to be able to put on the ballot for our police department to become a local agency is because of a partnership with them. When you think about investments that were going to be historic, like the Transit Safety and Investment Act, thanks to Senator McCray and Delegate Learman. When you think about all the funds and things that are coming in for Rec and Parks in our schools, led by Maggie McIntosh, led by Senate President Ferguson, all of those things are great partnerships that we look forward to continuing with them on to make sure. And we know that they're at the table with us to make sure that we can also figure out ways to creatively hold people accountable, especially dealing with things like ghost guns in our city, especially dealing with things like people who are gun trafficking in our city, and making sure that systems are communicating from the state and local level.
Absolutely. And with Governor Hogan, I know you guys have met before. There's plans to meet again.
In a few weeks, yep.
I'm sure. Okay. What's been some successes with a partnership with him? What have been some of the challenges? Talk to me about that.
Well, I guess the biggest success is that, listen, the governor decided a few years ago to do away with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. And even though he and I don't always agree, at the time, even though I thought we should keep it going, I agreed with his frustration that it was not producing results and that it was a dog and pony show. And after our meeting, he agreed to send the state representatives back and allow me to really head the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council so that we can do the work, Kendall, because you hear this talk all the time, right? When folks say, well, this violent repeat offender should have been in jail and they were released and it was the police's fault, or it's the state's attorney's fault, or it was the judge's fault, or it was this person, the court commissioner's fault. But the reality is that no one really knows or knew what was happening because there was no data system, there was no sharing, there was none of that information. It was all hearsay. And what we're doing now and what the governor's employees who are there with our federal partners and our other partners are saying is that this is the first time that they've been actually asked what we should work on. The experts in the agencies, not the people like me, not the people like the governor, what needs to happen. And they building how we're going to work together to make sure that these systems are talking, that we're handling issues and building processes that make Baltimore safer now and in the future.
Baltimore earlier today saw its 320th murder, and we're digging even deeper into the details surrounding the mayor's stance on violent crime. Now, we asked him to address the grieving families and share his administration's approach to reducing the violence. And we're addressing the hot button issues surrounding refunding police and defunding police and how and if Mayor Scott's stance has changed after a year in office. That's coming up at 6, Kelly and Jamie.
You know, the crime is off the chain. 300th homicide was a 5-year-old girl. Then we got the murder of a 13-year-old still being investigated. They talk much about youth and violence because it's awful.
He did. He said that it was necessary to make an investment in youth, buy rec centers and schools and everything like that. But he also acknowledged that crime is widespread. In the last year or so, there's been more murders of people that are 30 and above. And he was saying that this just shows that there's a lack of conflict resolution within the city, and he wants that to change somehow.
All right. Thank you, Ken. I got another question. You know, a lot of people want to see, I guess, the mayor kick over trash cans, or throw something, in anger over the violence in the city. But you got to lead.
Yeah. What's going to happen overnight is the question. Yeah. What can you do to change something from right now in the next 24 hours? I would ask you, what can you do? That's the question that we're
It's a good
having
one.
to
That's why
address.
I'll never be mayor.
I got no answer for you on that one.
All right.